All right, we are live from the mill here in Sandy, Utah. Thanks for joining us. We got a pretty good group here and some folks online. Again, this is our Bagels in Business for June, and brought to you with our partners, the SBDC. If you guys aren't registered with the SBDC, I would highly recommend registering with the SBDC, getting on their map, getting they're being able to access their events and the stuff that's going on with them, and also the mill as well. Of course, we offer our co-working and office space, mentoring, advising, and classes. So we're going to get right going. I'm really excited today for our topic. I met Ian's 4 or 5 years ago. I won't tell you what we did in Washington, D.C., but we had a lot of fun one night in the back of chasing some of our small business owners around and having a good time. But Ian's is really a very interesting and well-rounded person when it comes to thought and leadership. And as you know, as entrepreneurs, the easy part is getting product to market and getting our ideas out there. Where things start to bog down and where we need help, especially growing and scaling, is leadership. We got to have strong leadership. He wrote this book, The 5 Secret Fears of Failing in Business. I recommend getting this book. It's a great read. It's very entertaining, and you will get something out of it. I'm going to shut up now. I know Ian says he's planning a trip here to the Caribbean, so he's excited. So he's smiling. He's going to be smiling when he gets up here. And if Beth was here, I think she's going to okay my ticket. I'm going to go with you. So with that, Ian's.
I'm going to stand right here so I don't stand right in front of that light coming this way. So thank you so much, John. Before I start, let me mention to you that I love the association, and I continue to share with the association I've had and continue to have with John, Beth, and all the other leaders. And I am a graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. And that program has a great influence on me and will continue to impact my life for the rest of my life. And so thank you to you, thank you to Beth, thank you to all the other wonderful people that used to be part of this program. So I'm going to share a thought with you, but before I do that, let me clear the air. I'm extremely sorry for this moment. If you know me very well, I hate to be late. In my early days, this would have driven me crazy because I used to think that, you have to be perfect in life. But as I go older and I find out there are times you make mistakes. And when you make mistakes as a leader, you own it. This on me, right? But I appreciate that you've been patient with me. And my goal today is to take the time and to share something with you. And my desire that I will add value to you. So we're going to be very close, very personal, if that's okay with you. And then you will ask questions, and I will answer them. And we're going to have interactions because I'm here to serve you. Let me share this with you also. I was supposed to be in St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Islands, this week. When John asked me, and I said, is it going to be in person? He said, yes. Then I postponed my trip this Friday, red eye, so I could be there. Wow. So really, all yesterday, everything, I've been thinking about you. Only to come late, right? So I've been thinking about you, been on my mind, and I'm excited. Thank you so much. But we're gonna tie that with that. So I'm gonna share with you a little background about myself, right? My good friend Chris, who is sitting on the back, he will understand. He served his wonderful mission as a great man in Haiti, so he understands that. The reason I want to share a little bit about my background, so you can connect where I have been, why I'm here, and why I'm so passionate about what I do. I grew up in Haiti in a very small village, not even a city. Small village called Sanwa, right? And in those days, we didn't have schools in that village. Or we had someone that might teach you papa, mama, few words there. But I was fortunate. I had parents who had great vision for their children. So therefore, growing up in this situation, a couple of things that never entered my mind. There are a lot of things I did not have, but I was never poor. Being poor is a state of mind and a state of heart. Never was poor. There are a lot of things I did not have. I did not have a car, I did not have a bike, I didn't have phone, I didn't have TV, but this is what I had. Great parents, food, in a nice home, giving the situation, right? And parents who had great vision. And their vision was that all of their children will receive a formal education. My father never received a formal education. My mother never received one. But their vision was that their children will receive a formal education. So I remember when it was the time for me to leave the village to go to the city, Semak, right, Chris, you know Semak very well, to go to a place you're gonna go to boarding school and you're not staying with your parents and you're not gonna see them for 3 months. As a child, that was very tough for me. I held tight on my dad's legs and begged him not to let me go. Because I had a vision. My vision was that my father was a great farmer, very well known and respected in the community. In addition to that, also, he used his skills, what you might call a chiropractor, to help people heal. He was able to heal them. And I wanted to be a farmer like him. Why not? He's the best farmer. You know, the difference between him and me right now, as a farmer, he was like strong, you know, I mean, yeah, I think I would love to have that even now. But I remember that my father looked at me and said, son, you need to go to school. But that was not enough to convince me to go to school. Because why do you need to go to school? When what you want to become is right there, and the best teacher is your father, why do you want to go to school? If you're a very smart child, you get this figured out. But I was fortunate to have some. So there was a point there I want to share with you. Wherever you are in life, always follow a leader who has a clear and compassionate vision. Wherever you are in life, wherever. And these leaders are always around you, you can find them. For me, it was my father. And he was very firm and kind. And after that, when he realized that I was a stubborn child, crying and feeling the pain of leaving my comfort zone, he looked at me and shared these words, son, you still need to go to school and get a formal education. And after that, if you still desire to be a farmer, you can come back to the village and help us be a better farmer. That one get to me. That statement in itself got to me. And I obeyed, and I went to school. Very, very small village. To this point, the village has not gotten better. It's still small, and it's still miserable. But my parents had a vision. They never saw Salt Lake. They never worry about airplane. But the vision was that you get an education, you can become whatever you want. And also with that, if you still desire to be a farmer, can go to the agriculture business and come back and help us. And I decided. And pretty quickly, I realized that the life in the city wasn't that bad. And I enjoy school, and I'm gonna fast forward, and we're gonna get there. Enjoy school, and then my vision changed. Then I want to be a teacher. So another point I want to make with you, I call it the 3 dimension of a transformational vision. Dimension 2, you have to have your own vision. You have to have your own goal. And my goal was to become a teacher. I was influenced by so many teachers. Then I remember that it was in St. Mark's small school. We worked hard. I had that clear vision. And then transferred to Port-au-Prince for high school. I remember every day I walked. I'm talking about 1 hour one way and 1 hour coming back to go to school. Here in the US, when they talk about you're going to the gym to exercise, I say exercise all my life. You're going up there to camp and hiking. I did that all my life. That was part of life, Walking was part of life. I walked 1 hour each day. You're talking about sunny, heat, rain? No. But the goal is that anytime I walk by the faculty, the science faculty, which was a part of the university in Haiti, I look at it, I say, one day I'm going to be there. One day I'm going to be there. And anytime I told myself, one day I'm going to be there, then every step I took to go to school was one step closer to that goal. One day I'm going to be there. One day I'm going to be there. Then finish high school. Let me give you a little bit of background. And we're going to tie everything together with this topic. Believe me. So when I went high school, the last year, there were about 11,000 students. Let me humor you with another thing also about my situation, my condition. Here in the United States, because I went to BYU, I understand a little bit about that. When they give your grades, they kind of like a secret thing. You get a B. No one, they call it privacy or EPA, all these things. Not in Haiti. In Haiti, when they give you your grade report, this is how they do it. If you don't think this is fun, listen to it. Yeah, there are 20 students in the class, and this, that. Joseph, number 20, you're last. And Joseph was like this. Number 19, they name your name, and until they get to number 1. Illen, you're number 1 in the class, and you walk off on shoulders, right? There's no privacy. And when you get to the high school, the last year, and you're gonna take a very large national test, this is how they do it. It's not in the class anymore, it's on radio. On radio. And sometimes you don't even have a radio at home. So you go to a friend and they tell you, tomorrow at 10 a.m., we're gonna name all the students who pass. And you know what happens if you fail? The whole world knows. Because they know you want to take that test, and they name you alphabetically by last name, and boom. My goal was to get to that university. Now, my friend, I am going to share with you my first failure in life and how that impacted me for good. I don't know when you experienced your first one. If you don't know, I might encourage you to go back and check that. I've never failed before. Probably I broke a toe or I lost a fingernail, but never failed before. I was that student when that was my goal. I'm gonna be the best student, number 1, number 2. And I went to take that final test. Study hard for it. Spend night. That's your future. This is no kidding you. We spend night. We don't even have electricity at home. Chris, right? You've been to some homes where there's no electricity, right? We don't have electricity in your home. So you go outside where they have this big bulb light for the street, and you said stand up right there, and you are reading. You are just studying right now. And I did that. I did that for 9 months. Because I didn't want to fail. I know what failing would mean to me. And I was the first one at that time in my family, in my generation, to attempt that. Guess what? I failed. I remember that day very well. The radio, I sat down outside so I could hear. And they go A, B, C, D. When they get to D, they skip my name. I said, how dare you skip my name? You know when they skip your name, you know what that means? You fail. You fail. Your friends know it. Everybody, it's on radio. They skip my name. I had to pause. First time in my life. But this is what I learned from that. Failure is part of life. If that has not happened to you, it's going to happen to you. Failure is part of life. That was first lesson. Before I didn't know that was the reality, right? Because you are going to school, you're getting best grades, you think like you're invisible. Do you know some young people who think like this? Right? I thought I was invincible. Failure is part of it. Number 2 lesson. Failure is not going to stop me. Number 3, I failed once, I'm going to fail again. Because failure is part of it. Number 4, when you're failing, that's when you're going to know who is on your team. You're going to learn the key players and the pretenders. I was fortunate to have some key players around me. My mother was one of them. She was there. She was waiting for that name to be called. When it did not happen, and she saw the pain in me. She came to me, she said, son, I watch you. You give it all. Don't worry, you're gonna make it. It's always great to have that. If you are here in this room and you have children, I want you to know, when you feel you are failing, this is not the time to turn your head away from them. This is the time to move toward them. If you're here in this room, you have friends who are failing, this is not the time to turn your head away from them. This is the time to lean toward them. This is the time they need you the most. When things are well, when jazz is playing well, all the fans are here cheering. They're just, but when they are not playing well, you know what they do? They leave the place early. When you're facing tough time in life, you're gonna know who is on your team and the people who are the pretenders. Another thing I learned from that first failure is that when the vision is big enough, failure will not stop you. It's gonna only go ahead. Another lesson I learned from that was, when the vision and the big goal includes other people, failures are not going to stop you. Because I had that goal, not only for myself, I wanted to accomplish this one for my mother, for my father, and also for my siblings. And I had a lot of people from that village who look up to me. If I allowed that failing moment to stop me, I would not have the impact I needed to have. So in that tough moment, I paused and looked inside. It is, you're gonna get back on the horse. And you're gonna try again. And that moment, never in my life I thought this way before. Because I always succeeded. It doesn't matter how many times it's gonna take you. You're gonna do it. And failure also will give you the opportunity, something to review. Then I look back. I had to go to a place, I was living close to the mountain, By the way, living in Haiti close to the mountain, that doesn't mean you have money. The mountain, they reserve it for people who don't have money. Just so you know, I want to make sure it's clear. The big houses, they are downtown. So I went close to the mountain and I sat down at the place so I could clear my mind. Sat down, could clear my mind, reconnect, so I could reconnect with my vision. I could see the future and review why I failed. You wanna know why I failed? You wanna know? Yeah. Even though if you don't, I'm gonna share anyway. I failed because math was my strength and physics, and they were the most, like 300 points compared to Spanish 100 points. And then only a few days before the exam, a good friend of mine said, Illen, you've never had a calculator before. We have this calculator right there. Why don't you borrow it? It's gonna help you speed up things when you're taking the test. Great things. I've been practicing doing things with my head. Now they throw me a calculator to speed up, and when the calculator didn't work, I didn't know, and I failed these two key courses, and I knew it. So therefore, I review, put that calculator away. For 6 years in my life, I've been doing this one, and my brain was working this one. I could check numbers in my mind if they didn't go well, put the calculator away, and focus on these things because I had 2 months to retake the test, and I went, and I passed. Moving forward, thank you, my friend. My eyes were on one faculty, one place, the science faculty. There are 2 big ones in Haiti, the medical school and the engineering school. I wanted to be an engineer. There were 1,000 students who went to take the test. You have to take that test to be admitted. And they accepted only 100, including those who were part of the school before, who could not progress. They had to retake it. And I was number 30. I was big. I was number 30. I made it. And I competed with people with higher schools and people who had what we call piston. Piston means that you have a connection with the government. Whether you're good or not, your place is secure. And I remember when I was inside right now and I had a class, it was a design class, and the teacher, the first week, going through this one, and then call people and say, oh, you so-and-so, I had your brother in the class, you so-and-so, I had someone in the class, who you so. That was a good friend of mine. Her last name was Eugene. And he was able to make a connection with her. When he came to me, I know he was going to be stuck. I said, sir, there's no connection. I'm the first one. I bailed him out. He was out. I said, there's no connection. I'm the first one. There's no Illens. There's no door. I was the first one. First one. My friend, I'm going to speed up. Do you think after this first failure, I never fail again? Yeah, I continue to fail. I'm going to fail tomorrow, and I'm going to fail again. But this is what I know. The lessons that I learned from that first failure stay with me. Failure will not define me, and failure will not stop me, and failure is part of life. Any question on that? If I can get these to work. If not, would you give me a click, please, Monique? Yep. So now I'm going to make a segue to small business. Okay? The power and the impact of small businesses on our economy. Beth was there, John was there. Thanks to this wonderful program, Beth, I'm happy that you're here. For the rest of my life, I will always be grateful to you in the program. Enjoy all your wonderful teachers. We were in Washington for a great summit for Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. Warren Buffett was there, and many influential people, great business people were there. And I remember that statement from Warren Buffett and the impact, the vibration, the energy in the room. there is nothing small about small businesses. I want you to remember that. There is nothing small about small businesses. There is nothing small about people working for small businesses. There is nothing small about people who own small businesses. I want you to know I have a passion, and my passion is to work with small businesses. That comprise over 95% of the businesses in our country. The big businesses rely on us to survive. So we play an important role in business. I talk about overcoming fears. I share with you my first failure in life. Let me share this quote. I do not know the author, but wherever he or she is, I want to give her credit. People do not fail because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit. I learned this one from Les Brown. If I had more time, I would share with you his story. But I'm going to give you a short version. When Les wanted to be a motivational speaker, he struggled in high school. He was adopted. A wonderful white lady took him, and he had to borrow shirts, and he lived on leftover food. But that's what it was. And one lady came to him, and when he shared that vision, she said, you know what, you need to take your son to see a doctor because he is kind of like, look at his big goal. Fast forward, if you don't know Les Brown, he was one of the best. And you can only afford it if you have $50,000 for about an hour. And he learned. But that did not come without experiencing failures in his life. That did not come by just wanting, desiring. It came with a lot of hard work. When it comes to running a business, there are 5 secret fears. I took a lot of time. I researched, I talked to people. A lot of years. I learned from this wonderful program. A lot of years, based on my MBA background, everything. These fears are universal and foundational. And some people have all of them, and some people have only few of them. And today I'm going to share with you the fear of people. The fear of people is not that we're afraid of people. I'm going to share with you 6 key elements of that fear, and I want you to be comfortable and let me know which one resonates with you. Whether you want to share it in public, because I'm going to share mine in public with you, or you want to share it in your heart, it doesn't matter how you share it. I want you to face it, confront it, embrace it, and find ways to overcome it. Here are they. But since I'm going to leave this one here for a long time, the first one is the fear of failing in front of people. Sometimes we associate this with public speaking. That is true. Let me share with you my first experience with public speaking. My background is Haiti, right? And we have a lot of wonderful. You're talking about we have politicians here? Well, it's a small country. We have more politicians in Haiti than you can combine the 2 parties here. Those guys are so great when they speak. I mean, it's just like a liquid. It's all words, no substance. As a child wanting to go to engineering school, I had nothing to do with that type of thing. I just, on purpose, I didn't like that style at all. But there was one thing I didn't know, and I'm going to share this with you. But let me share this story with you first. So I had a friend. We went to high school together. Great friend. And he was going to the academy the police academy to become an officer. So they are throwing a party for him. We've been friends for over 8 years. And there are 2 of us, men and 2 ladies, but we were not like boyfriends and girlfriends. They just thought we were. So they came to me, the other 2 friends, the other wonderful ladies. They said, Illen, you know Claude better than all of us. Would you be the one giving this speech on his going away party? I said, yes, I'll do it. I'll do it. So I went home and I wrote down a beautiful speech. You know, I've been watching those politicians, you know, and French, all they do. At the same time, I was sincere, so he was my friend, right? It was his phone. Wrote it down and, Illen, you don't like that. So what I did, I delegated it to one of my friends, a lady I went to elementary school with her. We've known each other for 13 years. At that time, they thought that she was my girlfriend, but she was not. We're friends. I said, my friend, I would write this speech, you give it. She said, yes, you're a great speech writer. I'll do it. I said, great, wonderful. So wrote this speech, gave it to her, and went to the party. And you sit down there, you're gonna wait for someone to read your beautiful words, thing like this. This is what happened. At the moment they called for the person to give this speech, she disappeared. That's almost happened to me this morning. She disappeared. I never knew that someone could disappear just like this. In magic, that can happen. I never knew. And being brave, I said, you know what? It was my assignment first. I'm gonna take full responsibility. So I got up. Can I tell you the truth? I messed it up. Pretty badly. And you don't do that with Haitians. They knew it, I knew it, and it was hard. It was terrible. It was terrible, terrible. I managed to have the courage to stay. And I went home and I made a decision. That will never, never, never happen to me again. What I did not know about public speaking, I'm going to share this with you. We all do it. We all need to do it. We all will need to do it. You have no choice. It's part of life. Whether you're doing a small group like this one or one-on-one within your family, that's what it is. I had a wrong version of that, so therefore I took a wrong approach. This is what I learned also. If you have given speeches before, you know there was a difference between writing it, practicing it, and delivering it. They're not the same. You can write a beautiful speech. If you don't practice it, you can't deliver it well. That's what happened. I wrote it, but I didn't practice it because I knew someone else was going to do it. So therefore, I made a decision that will never happen to me anymore. I will. If I say yes, it's my responsibility. No someone else. And I didn't blame her. That's my side. I didn't blame her. Because she struggled with the same problem, except we didn't know. Do you know how many people struggle with this? Even in the US? Let me share with you. I'm going to share. I like to keep things simple. If this is your struggle, 3 things you need to do. Prepare, practice, and be ready to present. Prepare, practice, and be ready to present. There are more things you can do, but if you take this approach, I promise you'll be all right. So fast forward, then I was in a situation as a young leader, and they asked me to give a talk, and there were about 1,500 people in the congregation, and I said, it's not going to happen anymore. Prepare, practice, I even went a day before. I sat down in the chapel as if that the people were there. I pondered. And since that time, I've been learning. And over the years, I've learned more about that. But the fear of failing in front of people is not only about public speaking, it's about business. A lot of people will not even start a business because you're afraid they might fail. They might fail in front of people. Number two, the fear of failing people. I call this in the book a noble fear. Anybody who has integrity and great character will have to struggle with this. I struggle with this. I never want to do anything in life. I may do it that I fail, but I don't want to do it that I will fail someone else. And I thought about that. I researched, I observed people, and I say, is there one thing that leaders you have learned? Is there one thing you can share in the book with people that can help them overcome that fear? I was fortunate that one thing came to me. Can I share that with you? You're still with me? It's that simple. It's that simple. Learn how to leverage resources around you, specifically human capital. You know, there are a lot of things that we can do well, there are a lot of things that we don't do well. As business owners, we need to understand that. We need to understand our strength, we need to understand our weaknesses, and feel comfortable there are people around us that can complement our weaknesses. Writing this book, I had this in the back of my mind. I had people who trusted me. I had people who bought the book before, copies of the book before I published it. In my mind, I said, I don't want to fail. I don't want anybody who invest a penny in this book so they will not get value. But at the same time, writing the book, I know that I had some strength and some weaknesses. You know what I did? I got a lot of wonderful friends. I just called them. In the legal part of it, I had a great friend, Dana Ball. That's what she does. I said, Dana, can you share with me 5 things that small business owners need to know so they can protect themselves and protect their business? That's my gift and that's my blessing. She said, I'd love to do it. And she did, and after she received a signed copy of the book, let me share with you. Might be more important coming from her. She texted me. She said, Illen, I read the book. This is what I want you to know. Now, this is going to be the book that every client will receive. I used to give them the copy of a Built to Last. Now, every one of my clients will receive the copy. And I just purchased 75 copies, Illen. I call other friends also in marketing. I call other friends also in finance. I call other friends and I brought a lot of great minds together that I have. There are certain things you cannot find only in research. You got it with them. And knew at that time that I was going to have a book that will stay with them. So, one thing, when you're facing this one, that noble fear, remember, there are resources. On that, I'm going to share my personal quote with you, and I want you to write this down. It is that simple, but that's so true. There are only 2 resources we need in life to grow and also to use as exchange. Only 2 resources. I want you to know I'm from Haiti. And even in Haiti, we have these 2 resources. I'm going to give them to you. And after that, I want you to test them. You can test them right now with me. 2 resources. Natural resources and human resources. I call it human capital because I don't want to dilute the words human resources. Only 2 resources. A philosopher said it this way, a French philosopher. When a man sees a pile of work and contemplates in it a cathedral, then he can build a cathedral. So the pile of work is natural resources in a person seeing it. So when you are facing difficult times, you say, I don't have what I need to do what I need to do. I want you to feel comfortable. Stay calm. Look around. Are there some natural resources that you are not using? And look around. Are there people around you that you could use as resources that we are not using? Once we learn how to leverage these two resources, let me ask a question. Can you tell me, sometime when I do that teaching and then one-on-one or too many people will say, Illen, what about this? I say, yeah, this thing was created using these two resources. If you want to challenge the thought, go with it. Give me something that you know, and we need to use these two resources to create them. Anything, any thought? I'm open for feedback. I can change, I'm learning.
What again do you mean by natural resources?
Anything. Air, ground, water. And another thought with that, these resources, we did not create them. Right? We did not create them. Why is that thought so important? It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where. You know, in Africa, we have more natural resources than a lot of places in the world. Do you know that? And yet we have poverty. The source is not because we don't have the resources we need. It's how we are using human capital. What is our purpose?
And so your question was why? I think it's important because sometimes we get into that rut, or that it's a way to step back and say, okay, to free our minds to say there's other things out there, kind of reset a little bit to have a new perspective on, hey, maybe there's some, there is always some, people around us or things that we can tap into, not just people, but the natural resources. Say, there's something I'm missing. There's always a way, and I need to find that way.
That is correct. And with that also, I'm going to give you another statement. And I want you to end the book. I made some bold statements, and I know that. But I can send you. One of them is that every problem in life has a solution. So if it doesn't have a solution, it's not a problem. Right? What do businesses do? We solve problems. Something that can be a problem for you cannot find a solution. John can find a solution. Right? Every problem in life has a solution. We just need to think about the solution instead of thinking about the problems. And that's what businesses do. We solve problems. And I want to make sure I'm clear on this one. Any business that doesn't solve a problem for a client should not be in business. Right? That's our purpose, is to solve problems. So let's go to number 3. The fear that people may fail us. How many of us in the room had a situation where someone else failed you? I'm raising my hand. I wish I could tell you that will never happen. The truth is that it will happen. It will happen. But this is a thought for you. And I get that from Mother Teresa. Fantastic leader in the world. Do good anyway. Build your business anyway. Whatever you have in mind, whatever gift that you have, you build. I used to own duplexes. I promise you, I had a lot of tenants who failed me. Not only they failed me, they failed my pocket. A lot of people will not. I had 80% of them who paid their rent all the time. But I had 20% of them that meant by the time I get them in the place, in 2 months, it was trash. That never stopped me. Don't let other people's action derail you. Just focus on your goals, your gifts, and your mission. People will fast. And The sad part, if we want to be true to ourselves, we have failed people also. We have failed people also. So don't let this fear keep you from moving forward. The other one is the fear of having employees and leading people. This one really is a lack of education and misinformation. So I was doing a training, and then so via videos we invited Dave Ramsey, and he talked about entrepreneur. What was the book again? Entrepreneur Leadership book. And there was a friend of mine. He was in the training, and after Dave was done, he came to me and said, I went to business school. The way they talk about having employees, I made a decision I would never have any employees because all they're gonna cause is trouble. But after participating in the Dave Ramsey program, I changed my mind. Now I have 25 employees. No, if employees are bad, do you work for someone? Be with me. Do you work for someone? Yeah. Are you employees? Yeah. You're not. It's a problem of leadership. It's the fact that we don't understand how to work with people, how to lead them, their strengths and their weaknesses. Then we let that fear. So, the way you can overcome that fear, increase your leadership skills. Leadership is just like any other skill. If you're not born with it, you can have it. If you're born with it, you can make it better. I tell people so they can remember that. I used to be a phenomenal soccer coach. I was pretty good at it. You know the reason why I was so good at it? Once I committed that I was going to coach the players, I made commitment also that I was going to spend time and resources to be a wonderful coach. I grew up in Haiti. I played soccer, but I'm playing and coaching two different skills. But this is what I want you to remember. When I was born, I was not born with a soccer ball in my feet. So I had to learn the skills. I had to learn the skill on how to play, and I had to learn the skill on how to coach. Yes, we can learn it. If we care about people, then we should. If you're in business, you know, I have people coming to me and say, I'm in business and I don't like people. I said, well, you're in business, you don't like people? All we have is people. So you sell dog food? Yeah, I sell dog food. I said, great. I don't see the dog coming to you and reach out into his pocket and pay you for that. Someone does. My background is engineering. I work with a lot of engineers. Say, give me my laptop. I don't care about people. I said, sir, I'm sorry. You gotta care about people. So the other one is the fear that people may discover your weaknesses. Can I share some news with you? It's already too late. They already discover it. If you don't believe me and you're married, ask your spouse. If you don't believe me, you have children, ask them. And if you are a leader, your followers already know your weaknesses. Guess what? We all have weaknesses and we all have some. I have another training that I do with a DISC, the Maxwell DISC method. I can help you identify your strengths and weaknesses. And that's a great thing. Followers, they are not looking for perfect leaders. They are looking for authentic leaders. Leaders who know their weaknesses and their strengths and learn how to leverage it. The last one, the fear that you may not be good enough. Oh, that one keeps a lot of people from even getting out of the house. We look at it and say, why me? Why me? Why me? The question is, why not you? Why not you? All of us here in this room, we have skills. We can build great products. We are good enough. Being good enough doesn't mean that we are not going to push forward. Hey, I'm a son of a farmer. It's all hard work. It's all hard work. But we can do it. When I was researching this, pondering, talking with people, this is what I want you to know. In business, there are times we say, this happened because of this and that. It could be location, it could be marketing, it could be sales. Great, they are all true. But this is what I want you to know. Behind of all these failures, one of those things worked. You know the owner, the CEO of BlackBerry, when BlackBerry failed, he cried in public. He said, I did not do anything wrong. Meaning, I didn't misuse the money. But one thing also, he did say, I was afraid of moving forward. I was afraid of leaving my comfort zone where other business people were not afraid. It's a fear that is at the root of us not making the decision that we know we can make. So now I'm going to give you some time for questions. But before we do that, if we want to be comfortable, you don't have to. Never want to put people in a difficult situation in public. They might kill you for that. But I'm going to share with you mine. Mine is right here. Anytime I'm doing something, this one is right there working with me. And I share with you, let me see if I taught anything. What do I do to overcome this fear? Resources. Anytime that monster is coming, I say, let's calm down. What are the resources? With that, your gifts are given to you. This is a higher principle, not for you. My gifts are given to me, not for me. There are times we allow ourselves, we trick ourselves to think this way. Yeah. My gifts are given to me for you. Your gifts are given to you for me. And together, we do that. So, if you want to share with me which one you're struggling with, we'll take it. We'll embrace it. If you don't, that's okay. Now, that's all I want to share with you. I can share more about the book, but we're going to stop. I need to respect the time. And any questions that you have for me?
Mine is the fear of having employees and leaving.
Okay.
I'm in the process of doing
Okay.
that, so I've never had to.
So the first thing I want you to do, think about the person who hired you when you have to work for someone. Think about that person who hired you and how grateful you were to have that job. And think about the things that you did to be a wonderful employee. And remember, there are a lot of people like you out there. Okay?
All right.
If you establish the right environment, and if you don't have the desire to fail, they will be there for you, and they will help you succeed. There are a lot of wonderful people like you, and they will keep you. Not everybody has the courage to do that, so think about that. And at the same time, increase your skills in working with people. If I can be of service to you, let me know. Okay. I'm not selling, but I can. Okay? Thank you. Anybody else? Let's be open, because the fear, if we don't put it out there, you know what it said? It stay right there inside. It's gonna eat us up.
I have two. I would say the fear of failing people, and I would say the fear that I may not be good enough.
Yeah. You're not the only one.
Yeah, those are mine too.
Yeah.
And I think they're interconnected.
One simple statement is that you're good enough, and after that, go ahead.
And after that, what?
Go ahead and
Go ahead.
do the work. Start getting better, getting better, getting better. We are not perfect. That's a mistake we make. I used to make that mistake. Perfection was a good thing. When I start failing, I say, whoa, no, I'm human. We are not perfect. But we are good enough.
I guess along that line, someone told me about Paul is a very young fellow, and I was like, that was so big. He said, sir, if I don't do it, someone else will do it. I said, exactly. Why not me? Why not you? That was so profound. He's 20 years younger than me.
We're all living below our potential capacity.
That is true.
Because of these things. And some may have to do with our environment, noise, around us, and we can help it. It is not you, someone else is going to do it. But you are here to do it.
Right. I think my peers are your number 2 and 3. Like I always like to help people. I always have that thing. Probably, they're gonna fail me, or I may fail him, not meeting his expectation. Then I think now I'm like at a point like, his expectation is too high, or my expectation is too high. Probably it's not gonna achieve.
But we got to know our boundaries, right?
Yeah, I'm still struggling there.
Yeah. One more. How we doing with time? How we doing with time? Got a few minutes? One more.
About 4 minutes.
John.
I got all of them.
Thank you for being brave.
And so I'm thinking, so how do I set the expectation to, the department, the team, the company, the customers, I guess from a culture standpoint, how do you set that expectation that we're not always right?
The truth is that we're not always right. Anybody who believes that he or she is always right is wrong. But this is what I know. When you're wrong and you accept it, it's the right thing to do. A child can show me that I'm wrong, and I'll accept it. Now, we don't own all the knowledge in the world. If we're always right, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to leverage resources around us. Right. We're not going to leverage resources. I used to think that I was right, because all the time, because my background is in math. With math, you can always get it right. 2 and 2 is 4. There cannot be 2 and 2 and 5. It's always there. But life is not always that specific. What else? And I'll take 2 minutes to close.
I think that was a good point that you made that really resonated with me was if you always think you're right, then you're not acknowledging the resources, which means that there's other people and resources that can help you achieve your goals, your dreams, all of that. And I think that's such an important point that, you don't have to be right, 1, but 2, that there's so many other people that can help you achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah. And also, I've learned this from another leader. You don't have to wait in business or in life to make a decision to move forward until you get everything perfectly right. It's going to be too late. And there are times, and sometimes also, let me share this one. So, as followers, we need to understand that the leader may not share all the information. There may be a reason for that. Or also, it is the fact that, we're going to make a decision, we're going to move forward, and we're going to evaluate. And then all of us, we're going to go together. A team that can move forward this way will accomplish more than a team where all the members are waiting for the perfect element to come together. Then it's too late. I'm going to conclude with this one. Anytime I'm in a situation, and I've been in this situation many times, when I'm trying to do something and someone will come to me and say, Illen, don't do it because you're going to fail. If I'm going, I got my boundaries. If I'm going on top of the thing and jumping, I will listen. Because I don't want to die. Not today. But if that's not the case, this is what I will do. I will do it. If I fail, I will have something to learn and to review. But if I don't try it, I have nothing to learn from, and I'm going to remain the same. I will do it, knowing that I might fail. Because I know I might fail, you know what I'm going to do? Going back. I'm going to do my best to leverage the resources around me so I will not fail. And if I did that and I still fail, I got something that I can fall back on and learn and retool and move forward. I will do it anyway. I'm not here. As a child, we were not born to be afraid. If that was the case, we would have stayed in the tummy of our parents, not pushed through the canal. Does that make sense? It was not easy for both of them, but we made it through. So we're here to grow, succeed, and add value to people. That's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, Illen. Just a reminder, we talked about fear of failing people and human capital. SBDC is our human capital. We have a lot of resources here at the mill. If you're not connected to us or you don't have an advisor, boy, jump on that as soon as possible. Get the book. If you haven't read the book, it's very, very entertaining. If you're building a culture, if you have a small team, I recommend that you share it with your team, have them read it. It'd be great to have a team full of thought leaders and people that understand fear and can overcome it. So that being said, again, thanks, Ian. We hope to get you back this fall. If not, he'll be around sometime. We're going to keep him around. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Oh, we still on next month?
Yes.
Okay. Next month, we're going to have a marketing clinic on Christmas in July, and look at our Facebook page. We'll be sending out more information on that this week. That's going to be taught by one of the clients at the mill.
It's a 3-week course, 3-day course.
Yep. And so more information. There's some of that out already, but we will be sending out more information. So look for that. See you next month. My friend.
My friend, we thank you.
I know where Beth left.